Urban legend.
Oh, we get all kinds of lying going on.
No kidding.
Our government's telling us that Mr. Bin Laden is dead.
And they already got rid of the body. Isn't that convenient?
Well, the whole thing is a scam. Bin Laden died late in 2001. And Benazir Bhutto in 2007 did a public service broadcast. She was being interviewed. And she said he's been dead for 7 years. And 3 months later, the CIA had somebody put a bullet in the middle of her head. Now, what's interesting about this is that I started following the career of Bin Laden in '85. I was tipped off to it by Ollie North. And he was working as a CIA operative in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. And he was an employee of the Central Intelligence Agency. This whole business of Al-Qaeda and Taliban, they're all controlled by the CIA and MI6, and MI6 in particular. And I know quite a bit about Miss Bhutto. Her husband was a terrible criminal, incidentally. I had contacts back in the 80s, and they're still open to me, but I don't use them very often in Europe. And they were the ones who first gave me a heads up on her. And the only reason I found out about it was that she was moving from London back to Pakistan. And the CIA was moving all of her furniture and everything. That's how I found out. And then I did a little snooping. And she went to Radcliffe, which is Harvard. And that was in 69, 71. And that's when MI6, and particularly the CIA, recruited her. And I know the guy that recruited her. And I'm not going to give you his name in the air. But I know what the connection is, and it's someone I knew 50 years ago very, very well. And he worked for the CIA and also in the State Department. And one of the big tip-offs to me was when she was killed, he went ballistic. And the adage is, we don't go running around killing our own. And I don't know whether he emotionally ever recovered for that. And I could get a hold of him if I wanted to, because I have means of doing that. But that's a story. And she just opened her mouth up, and they might have told her, you can't say anything about that. And she did anyway. And so they whacked her. And so that's how we know for sure that he's been dead for years. Now you say to yourself, why is this happening? Well, this is another notch in the gun, so to speak, of Mr. Obama. He is responsible for the apprehension and killing of a very, very evil person. And that makes his popularity go up. We're going to be hearing about that for the next year, 2 years, like he was actually there and did it, when in fact there was no being there because nothing was done. And they didn't dump anybody's body in the ocean. It's another piece of black propaganda, misdirection. And why? Because the financial and economic situation in the United States, Great Britain, and Europe is awful. And this week, I think, we're going to have the meetings in Greece, and I've already told your listeners what to expect, which is some sort of default. And that's why they've been building the pound up, so if it goes into free fall, which will make the dollar go up, that in this process, they'll have a lot of buffer zone between 148 and 118. And that's why the dollar's been so weak. But I've talked about this before, of course, this ever happened. And so that's the story behind that, just more lies. And the world, and to some extent Americans, are losing their immunity to these lies. And quite frankly, the Americans are the laughing stock of the world. I'm not talking about the citizens. I'm talking about the people in government and the people in Wall Street and banking who really control our country. And so that's the story about that. And it'll come out that way, just like the story I gave you a couple of months, 2.5, 3 months ago about the Middle East. And it's to bring on and create a third world war. And that's what we're into already. It's already begun.
I told you bitches you were about to go downtown. Now, Bob Chapman just took you downtown, man. Okay, Bob. We're all, like, knock-kneed over here because Silver fell off a cliff last night. Man, I was tripping. But we come on back now a little bit. What's going on with that?
Well, that's your government in action. This is the kind of thing you can expect from a corporatist fascist government. They went into the very thinly traded markets overseas. They got it down to 44.77 at least. And how I know that is somebody told me they bought there at that price in Europe. So I know it got that low. The price of gold today is up to 220. It was up more earlier. Spot silver is, no, not spot, 45.99 off 261, and that's a July month. And so it's come back tremendously from where it was. But they're going to keep on doing this until they can't do it anymore. It's going to go up. And we get all these knuckleheads who write newsletters. I get a name of about a dozen here who tell us for one reason or another gold and silver are going down. And what's good about
one
that
knucklehead
is...
I mentioned was the Dash Investor character. He is like the silver investor kind of guy, you know, but he sells it. That's what kind of investor he is. And he got out of it because he says sell and may go away. What do you say to those kind of people? Because I think there's a bit of that going around right now.
Well, I think it's caused by mental imbalance. And the reason for that is in some years in the past, during the summer months, the precious metals have been weak. And it picks up in August late when manufacturers start buying more gold and silver for the manufacture of jewelry. And then there's a big increase during September and October. And by that time, they know what they're going to need to make the jewelry that they're going to make for that season, which is the two Indian holidays as Diwali, and I forget the name of the other one. And, of course, the holiday season throughout Europe and the United States. And so that's been habitual. But we're dealing in markets today where both metals are hitting new highs. There's all sorts of new reasons why people should be buying. And I think that if you look at the track record of 96% of the newsletter writers are supposed to be basically neutral to pro gold and silver, they've been negative for 5 years. Every time they've made a call, they've been wrong. And I think it's terrific because I'm on the other side. And I just say go long and stay long. In fact, I was a buyer a little over a week ago at 46.29. And we're going to break 50. If for no other reason than almost everybody who bought silver near the top in 1980 is deceased. There is no support, resistance at that level. How can there be? And we're going to take all these people out of the grave and bring their silver out? Because they were buried with it or something? Give me a break.
Yeah.
All that silver's been sold. And
they
so,
realized their losses already, man, a long time ago. That's so ridiculous, right?
That's right. And so there is no resistance. The resistance is the United States government and the morons who write these letters. And, you know, I've been in this business of writing letters, a letter, for 22 and a half years. I spent 29 years before that in the stock brokerage business doing analysis and trading and you name it, I did it. From working on the floor to working on a desk. I had 6,000 clients when I retired. So I know the game. And almost to a man, none of those people have ever been on the firing line. They've never had to make hard decisions on when to buy and when to sell. And they've never been trained for it. So how can they anybody expect them to be right? It's just like, you know, the guy that goes into combat. He finds out very, very quickly that it's not the fun and games it was on the computer. People are shooting live ammunition at you. And your whole perspective changes about everything. And your life is never the same again. The same thing happens in trading and being a broker, whether it's commodities or shares, bonds. You got to be there and have done that to understand. And most all of these people don't have those experiences. And most of them don't even have degrees in business and finance. And so you get a lot of people out there barking in the wrong lots. And the reason they're wrong is they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's pretty simple.
Bob, you're such a very decent man to come here and drop the real on us. And Morgan, morons, etc., we're buying right now. I bought. I'm buying some coins. And you can get good bargains.
That's what I did, incidentally.
Yeah. I'm buying like BU quarters and stuff like that, you know, so they're really nice. I'm getting them at spot roughly. So you're getting some nice coins at spot. And considering how expensive Eagles are getting, let me tell you something. My research has proven that silver is getting more expensive with the premiums and less available. So I think that when you have these chances, you got to have balls and buy on these dips when you get them. It's a bonus. That's the way to look at it, I think. Don't be afraid.
Well, I agree. And there's a lot of people out there who are not looking at the long term. And, you know, what I found for the public, as far as being a trader is concerned, is they may sell at the right place. But very often they don't get a chance to get back in. Or they wait too long. And then they're out of the game completely. Sometimes for a long time. I mean, let's say you sell at 49. I don't think anybody get in at 44.77 today who's a trader. I mean, that was in Europe. I don't know what the final number was in New York early on or on the day. But the point is this, that it's been my experience, and, you know, I've handled thousands of personal accounts for people, they never get back in. I mean, they'll say, well, in this instance, hypothetically, I get out at 48, and so and so and so and so and so and so say that it's going to $30 or $35 or $40. So I'm going to wait for that. And the last time the market turned a couple of weeks ago, it was right around here, these prices. So if it turns here and goes back up and tests 50 and breaks it, they're not going to get back in. So that is the downside in trading, and you've got to be a pro to do that. And you're going to be right, if you're really good, 55% of the time.
I mean, dollars were cool for a while. That, what do you call it, monkey shine money, you know what I'm saying? But now, And so silver is the way to be. And listen, the coin business has never been any bigger. Look at these, with the state quarters and all the 5-ounce silver that they're putting out. There's so many products they're putting out, and everybody's buying it up. This is the hot thing. People, it's real. I don't know if it's overvalued or undervalued and versus what, this, that, and the other thing, but it's hot. The trend is your friend, as you would say, Bob. And I say keep it on, man. And because, listen, you can't get these Eagles. Nobody has them. And if you want to buy them, the cheapest price you can get Eagles for, if you buy 500, Monster Box, is $490 over spot. That's amazing. Okay? So they're very anything that's going to come on the market is going to get gobbled up, man. The people are definitely hyped on coins and stuff like that. And to a lesser extent, bars. You look at APMEX, one of the biggest sites in the world. They're sold out of everything, and they jacked up their premiums like double on everything, too. Didn't stop anybody from buying it.
Did you see the letter that they sent out?
No.
They sent a letter to all their clients saying, if you get anything you want to sell, please come to us and we'll pay you X amount. I forget what it was. It was in the forecaster. It was one of the links.
Oh, yeah. They got no product. Yeah, I think that now.
They got no product. And so they were asking people to sell. And I don't know how they did, but I don't think they did very well.
But, of course, some people say there is no shortage. And they've been saying that since like $20 an ounce. No. I like a financial nonsense show by a guy named Mr. Pook and his partner, his sidekick, Dash Investor. Yeah, they're investors in silver, but they talk it down, and they're often wrong, like all the time. And they have the audacity to call people like Max Kaiser stupid, when in fact they should just look in the mirror.
Well, Max has been right on. And again, Max, it was years of doing the business I did. So, he's been on the firing line. He knows what he's talking about. Even Paul Craig Roberts, who I think is terrific, he was never a professional in the market. And so he sticks to usually the economic and financial issues. But there's very few people out there with in-depth knowledge. And, you're following these people, you're going to get burned. And we've seen it over and over again already. I mean, some of these people have spent time in insane asylums. So some of these people have spent time in insane asylums.
Well, they'll want to go there after they've seen their advice.
No, I'm not going to tell you who it is. There's one person who's followed and closely that went through hospitalization for a long time. And it's interesting that the person recently said sell everything at 48.50 or wherever it was. And the reason that the person had these emotional problems, we'll call them that, was that he lost copious amounts of money in silver. The same thing he's telling people to get out of. So I find that a little dumb.
Huh. I have no idea who you're talking about, actually, on that front. Cool.
Nobody knows it except me and a handful of other people. I've been around this business for over 50 years. I know where all the ghosts are hidden. I know who's fronting for the government, who's lying. Believe me. Who's compromised. And they hate me because they know I know.
And you're spreading the word, which is really cool, and giving us a break with some straight shoot, man. I mean, because it's getting so ridiculous now. I mean, like the birth certificate. And I put this up on my site, man. I don't care, of course, the layering and all that. Everybody knows about that. But what they don't know, because they haven't actually just taken the time to check what's on the document, like check the statements there, what they're saying, like the birthplace, the hospital. The hospital did not exist in 1961. That's on that certificate that Obama put forth. So obviously, that's all you need to know. And you can search it out.
Well, how about the name on the certificate? What is it?
What, the hospital?
No, the name of the person.
Number 2, you mean Barack Hussein number 2, the second?
Well, no, his name. His name was Soetoro.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not what's on the birth certificate or the thing that they're using.
Yeah. He's a complete whack job. And then, of course, we go, like we said before, the scarification of his skull. I mean, it's like he has such a hard coconut. Like they were trying to put the chip in there, and they're just like banging on it, and then like it finally cracked, and it was just like in like 3 or 4 pieces, man. And they're like, "Oh my God, Rick, this is a mess." And then, like they stitched it all back together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, that guy's head. And they got a big scar running down his neck. They peeled half of his face back, and it was like a botched thing. But they got that chip in there, baby.
Maybe he's a zombie.
Well, we had Aaron McCollum on here, who's an MK Ultra victim. He comes from a family of MK Ultra folks, he claims. And we listened to him, and this is what they do. They can turn that switch. They have little words that they call you on the phone. You pick up the phone, and it's like B-R-E-R, and that's like your sign. Uh-oh. You go into one of your alter personalities, and then they say, all right, come to the center. And then you go to the center like a zombie, and they say, okay, go whack this guy, and you go do it, and then you come back, and then they like say something else to you, and then you're back to like your normal again. You're like, whoa, what happened? And you got like blood all over your hands or something. And if you think I'm making this up, the story about Sirhan has come out. It's on some Central Texas Command Center or something website, and he talks about that polka dotted dress lady told him go over there, shoot RFK, and he's all okay.
Well, I was in L.A. when that happened. I lived there, and I was invited to go over there that night, and I only lived 3 blocks away from the hotel. I lived at 6th and Catalina, which is, 3, 4, 5 blocks away. And I didn't go. A newspaper, not a newspaper, a man who worked for CBS in Los Angeles was a friend of mine, and he was a reporter, and he was going to be there. And he said, do you want to come with me? He had a press pass so I could get in with him. And I said, no, I'm tired and so on. And but there's many versions of what happened. But this fellow, Sirhan, I don't know whether he was a shooter or not, but he was sure set up.
Yeah, now they just perfected it. Now they got electronics to do it. From what they used to have to hypnotize someone or give them a drug or something like that to get them in the mood. Now they just they hardwire them.
Mhm. It could be. I don't put anything beyond them. There wasn't a lot of stuff that went on in those days when I was associated with that. That was like that. Silver's fading again. It's down 275. But that's the July contract. But we are in an age now where the people who control government, the people in government, anything goes. I mean, people are killed out of hand. They don't care. It's really unbelievable. And, you know, their actions in the markets of the world are just crazy.
I noticed the dollar's going down, Bob. So people are tripping off the sell in May and go away. But let it get it out of their system and buy now, I think, at silverphysical.com. It's a good place to go.
They'll never get back in.
Yeah, it's a psychological block. No chipping.
And, you know, not only that, you know, these people that follow this gold-silver ratio, I've been doing this for over 50 years. It doesn't work. That's it. It doesn't work. It's something that was set up in the 1780s and 90s. I mean, the whole world has changed tremendously over the last 10 years, never mind the last 280 or whatever the number is.
Well, the solution is simple. All it's going to take is a group of contrarians, you know, a new secret society, a new secret police, a new anti-CIA agency type thing, and to start doing unto others what they have done unto people. I'll just put it in that terms. And then we will begin to see some changes. But that's, I mean, the protest, like I've been calling for, is overdue. And you look at the 60s generation, Bob, you were back in those days. They were constantly, year in, year out, fighting against the Vietnam War here in this country. But not World War I, boo, about basically about this 10-year wars that we've been having in the Middle East. People don't give a crap anymore at all. The younger generation, I mean, back in the 60s, that younger generation had a sense of things. There is no sense of things anymore.
Well, that's true. And, you know, the older people are just as bad. You know, I'm going to die, so why the hell should I care? And that's their attitude.
Right.
And I've lived in retirement communities, and it's not good. It's bad. They shouldn't be thinking that way. I mean, they're not thinking of their children and grandchildren or anything else. They're very, very selfish.
Yeah, so the naivete, has got to be dealt with. And, of course, I was talking to my buddy Rich, who helps a lot on the site, Richard Rowland. And I said, number one, frozen body, or they won't produce the corpse. And, of course, they do it for religious reasons. Oh, they're going to respect his religion and everything like that. But meanwhile, they'll go into a sovereign country and whack them and stuff like that. That's okay. That's not offensive to Muslims. But, quickly, within 24 hours, disposing of the body, now that's, keeping it in accordance,
What do they do? Dump it in some ocean someplace?
Yeah. Just so no one could check him out.
I mean, do they really expect us to believe such a thing?
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to believe a birth certificate that has a hospital that didn't exist for 17 years after he was born, on record, it's a fact. It's in Wikipedia. It's easy to check. It's so preposterous. And so,
well, that's what they think of us.
Said,
they think we're a bunch of jerks.
Huh?
They think we're a bunch of jerks.
I'm saying the parallels to Bolshevism are quite similar. And if you look at what happened with that and the monkey shine supremacists who were involved, on well known where they came from, and I'm afraid it's going to happen again. We're definitely all lining up in that direction. But basically with silver, Bob, I don't think we're going to have to trip too hard. It didn't bust through and stay below the 18-day moving average. So isn't that a positive, technically speaking?
Well, my feeling on technical analysis is it is a reflection of fundamentals. And trying to read tea leaves is left only to the psychics. And of course, they don't have to read anything if they're real, because they know already.
I like it. All right. So we pretty much figured out that silver is still in demand. It's still quite hard to get where you can get it. And so people wanting to get out here are probably, paying a little bit too much attention. Because this is a special time. This isn't like years before and stuff like that where, people did sell in May, and not buy up until September, October. Considering everything, and considering what's going to happen if QE2 doesn't go on, and with that doomsday thing, I think it's good to be in some solid assets and not be in dollars. And dollars going down, right? Still, was it below 72 still? Below 73 still. Let's take a look. Well, gold's coming back.
What's it on?
Like $7.
I don't show that.
I'm looking at these Kitco prices for the gold right now.
Oh, no, forget
spot
it.
Money.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Okay, got the U.S. dollar at 72.88, down 18 cents. So that sale still goes on. That's approaching that 71 mark. And that's the watershed event, right? There's no support under 71. Isn't that the case?
Yes, it is. The actual number is 71.18. But I think the situation in Europe is going to blow up. And that's the Greek situation. And so I think they've set the euro up in this fashion so it had a buffer zone below it because it's going down. Once we find out that Greece is not going to go along. I don't think they will.
When is that going to come down then? When is the Greece decision?
I think it's this week. They're having a meeting. They got all of the CFR people there.
And so they're threatening to pull out all the CIA and Mossad ops. They're going to visit their home and kill everybody, so they better do what they're told. Is that basically what they're telling them now, behind the scenes?
Well, there'll be plenty of them around, but it's J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup. They'll all be there. They'll put values on the bus company, the railway company, the gas, the electric, all the ports, the airfields, all the mineral resources, and all the islands. those are all going to go up, and probably other stuff I don't know about, as collateral for these bonds that they want them to receive, and that's how they get their money. And I just hope they say, no, we're not going to do that. Very simple.
And should that bold event happen, which I would encourage, you're thinking that would create a huge flight to the dollar, and that could give dollar a bounce right there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it would. It could be severe. Could take the dollar back up to 80 again, maybe 82, who knows. But the best thing for them to do is default. And that's what I've been telling the Greek people to do for a long time. And all the people that we've advised in Greece have done very well. They bought gold and silver. They've made a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm looking at the June contract on the COMEX, and shit, that's up a couple bucks. So the spot and the COMEX are way off today.
Well, I can pick up London here.
That's for the June month, I mean.
Just stand by. When you're going thousands of miles, nothing happens quickly. I can't pick it up.
Yeah, that's that July month is about down 2.7%. On the silver, most active traded July contract. So that's pretty heavy. That's different than the spot market. The spot market isn't down that much. Interesting.
Oh. Can't pick it up. Anyway, it was up there earlier, but silver was fading.
Well, I tell you what. Still, if you want to buy some silver, like bullion, coins, that type of stuff, it's still very expensive, and there's not that much of it out there. So I'm not going to pay too much attention to these paper traders and these contracts and everything like that. It's all based on a scam anyway. So, man, it's like putting credibility in what Obama says and what he produces. It's just the same as putting credibility into these, these markets. They're all scams. So, yeah, you got to put your scam detector analysis, run it through that chart or something like that to get it. Yeah. Talk about reading tea leaves. It's like reading con artists.
Well, that's true, and it's always been that way. And they run around in their $5,000 or $6,000 suits and act like they've got all the answers in the world. And then after a fashion, people come to me and say, "Gee, they lost me 50% of my portfolio. What am I going to do?" I see them all the time. I get them not only from those firms, but I get them from firms, people are not as familiar with. The performance is just terrible.
Again, Bob, you patch it back together, man. You try to get them back to whole and keep them in there, surviving through sage advice. That's why you're the legend, man.
The last of the Mohegans. Not many people like me left.
No, it's going to get ugly.
And I fear for the people who are coming up, unless people get some morality and think about really helping other people and not themselves. That's the way this thing works best. But the corruption in the system it was always there. But today, it is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And there's very little regulation. I mean, the public's not protected.
You know, I want to say this,
And
Bob.
people,
My traffic is 4 times its normal for today because I got the Osama bin Laden headshot up there. And it's only 12 o'clock, and I'm already 4 times my normal traffic to the GoNow.com. So we're getting on the map big time today, man.
Well, is that the picture? Is that the picture with the hole in the head or without the hole in the head?
No, he's got a hole in the head, yeah. It looks like in the forehead, upper forehead. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to aim lower next time. I must be flinching a little.
Yeah, it's a pretty graphic picture, but I mean, it's all we got right now. I think it's genuine. It looks pretty good, but it could be a fake. I don't know, but it looks pretty good. But we won't know because our government won't show us what's really happening. So we have to go to these 6 cents, you know. But the most important thing is respecting
What's that?
Listen, it's not offensive to go into Muslim countries and kill everybody and drop radioactive material on them, but it's very important to observe the funeral rites. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They don't care what you do to Obama, just stop bombing them.
That's a laugher, and they're killing mostly civilians.